Hey guys, welcome back to Q&A. I know it's been a minute. I just popped up. I ghosted y'all. I'm so sorry. I know how that feels. That was very terrible. I am not like that, okay? If you're here for the first time, thank you so much for joining us. And if you came back, thank you so much. Life has been happening these past few months, and I'll get into that in some other episodes. But for today, I'm so excited for today's episode. We have entered Black History Month, and we're going to use this episode to not pose a question, but to give gratitude to our ancestors. This idea came to me sometime around the holiday season. You know, when you get you see your family, you start to look back on the year, think about your past, what you've accomplished. And I really just wanted to give gratitude to those who came before me. So for those of you who don't know, my family's from Suriname. It's a small country, Dutch Caribbean country in South America. It resides right next to Guyana. Suriname has a diverse and rich culture like most Caribbean countries. My parents migrated here to New York with my sisters in about 80, 89. I don't know, I didn't come and enhance their lives until a few years later. Being the only Yankee in the family, well, not really, because my sisters are pretty Americanized, but I was the only one who was born here, and I also don't know the language so well, so it was kind of isolating, and not intentionally, but I do believe that most first gens have this problem where it's you're at home and there's this one culture that you were born into and you want to be a part of, and then you step outside the home and then there's this other culture that you were born into and you want to be a part of, and it's a big struggle to try to find the balance in your identity between both, right? Especially when you come from a country that most people don't know about, so you don't have those external sources to reaffirm, or you just don't see yourself represented in the same way as other immigrants may. But my mom made a point to tell us that we are descendants of Maroons. And she spoke with so much passion and conviction, but I was also 8 or 10 years old, and I was more concerned about Rugrats and Fruit Loops, I don't know. But it wasn't until I got much older, now as I'm getting more in tuned and more informed of my ancestors, I truly understand the significance of being a descendant of Maroons. So now for a little history lesson. My ancestors escaped slavery, fled to the interiors alongside the Amazon, created communities that were among the indigenous people 100 years before slavery was abolished. That is some baller shit to brag about, right? I'm truly honored that that is running through my DNA. I know that there's some people who believe that their generational wealth starts with them, but it's not lost on me that I'm simply being passed the baton to finish the work that my ancestors have already started. A few months ago, I was feeling a little guilty about believing that I'm gonna be living this life of abundance and prosperity. I was thinking what did I do to deserve this, right? Or I didn't suffer enough to earn such luxury in my life, right? And I feel there's some other people who can identify with that, where we feel we need to suffer in order to be rewarded. But then God dropped in my spirit, he was you don't know the prayers of your parents, your grandparents, and those before you. And I can very well just be a fulfillment of those prayers. I didn't get much FaceTime with my grandparents growing up because they obviously lived in Suriname. And there was an obvious communication barrier. So I met them a few times over the years, but I can still feel them. I feel I can still remember their warmth. Even my mom's dad, who passed away when I was much younger, I was able to see him a few years prior. And I even remember a picture that we took together. I don't have the physical picture, but that image definitely is stained in my brain. And I'm very grateful for the times that I did get to see my grandparents, because I do feel their presence with me. But I say all this to say that giving gratitude to your ascendants can be another cleansing practice. It's a way of looking at your past to kind of see who you are that can help navigate you to your future. My parents grew up in a village with no electricity, no plumbing, taking baths in rivers. My mom used to always tell us that she kayaked to school. To now, they have bougie daughters. Can we sit on that for a second? We drink Prosecco if we're thirsty. We're going to Paris to buy Gucci. degrees, houses. Like, my dad doesn't understand brunch. He doesn't understand going out to eat. And I'm just so honored to be a part of that legacy. Like, let's truly acknowledge that growth. And I'm sure my parents are happy to know that their sacrifices weren't made in vain. So I'm fully aware that even the thought that I'm able to claim that I'm gonna be the first multi-millionaire in my family. And it's not because I'm so talented and so smart, but it's also because of the sacrifices that were made before me and the environment in which I grew up in. So thank you, Mommy. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Oma and Ompa. And thank you to all my ancestors. And I will still leave you with an affirmation that you can say as frequently or as little as you want while practicing deep breathing and stillness. I am my ancestors' wildest dreams.